Humber Wave Radio 106.9.
Slightly early this week, Joe. You must have pressed that button quickly. Good evening, everybody.
We've
We're
got
on Wave Radio.
We've got a new StreamYard setting.
We've got a new
StreamYard setting where we can set an intro video to come on. So I got the time bang on, but because the intro played straight away, we lost that extra second.
There you go. Well, it was not your fault. It was the StreamYard fault. But we are live now on Humber Wave Radio and on Tiger Talk on to Hull and Back podcast. Glad to say that you joined it with the usual suspects. We have just listened to the usual suspects on Humber Wave Radio, and the usual suspects are now here. There's me, Eddie, right? There's you, Paul, right?
There is, yeah.
There's Christian.
Evening all. Hello.
And obviously Joe.
Now then, everyone, all right.
First of all, before we get into the misery of the weekend, because we're going to have to do that, unfortunately, at some point, we'll talk to Paul. You've got just lift yourself up a little bit for us, Paul. Just lift. Oh, there you go. What's this all about? What's this top all about?
Walking football. Just shirts that's given out for walking football. Springhead.
So you play for a few teams, don't you?
No, just play. It's only kicking about on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Springhead Wednesday, Friday, Ezel on a Monday. So yeah, it's good fun. Good fun. I enjoy it.
And you won
fit.
You won an award, didn't you, as well?
Oh, last year I got Player of the Year. Yeah, Players Player of the Year.
There you go. I mean, he just got Players Player of the Year. It's nothing good, lads. It's just Players Player of the Year.
Yeah, it's nice to get it. Nice to get it. Yeah. I've got a big trophy. We have to give back. I've got a little trophy as well, but the big one you have to give back every year. So
that's no.
Can I do it again? No, I don't think so. It's all right. Yeah, the little trophy's nice, to be fair.
Paul Wright, our walking football champion here on to Hull and Back and on Tiger Talk. Well, it is at the moment till you get that trophy back, obviously. But
I suppose so, yeah.
Yes, I suppose so, for definite. Anyway, we're all smiling at the moment. Can we be smiling by the end of the pod and at the end of the radio show? I was talking to Martin, one of our listeners who listens on the radio, and he sent me a message last week. He said, the difference for you lads last week after them 3 wins on the bounce, you was all buzzing, all hyper, all sort of jumping on the radio, on the podcast, everything like that. He said, I wonder what you're going to be like this week.
Well, I think these things happen in football, don't they? I mean, if you look at the sort of stats after the game, there wasn't a lot in it, really, was there? Shots-wise, shots on target, they had a couple more, possession, corners. The stats, you wouldn't think, if you just looked at the stats and didn't know the score, you wouldn't think it was a 4-0. And I think at 2-0, up to 2-0 up to 25 minutes. They'd been well on top of Norwich, to be quite honest. Probably could have had another goal or two. We didn't start well, which seems to be a regular theme with Hull City. They did it last year a number of times under Liam Rossini, and we've done it probably percentage-wise more this year under, Volta. I don't know what the problem is. They come out and not seem to be at it. I mean, against Cardiff, they scored first for 15 minutes. They was on top. QPR, apart from the keeper, probably would have been a couple ahead. It seems to be a regular theme, and I don't know what the problem is. You wouldn't have thought it's the manager necessarily, but, it could be, I suppose. I don't know what the problem is, and it's happened, a few times now. And to be fair, at 2-0, though, when we got into the game, last quarter of an hour of the first half, we should have had a penalty. He's pulled Badir's shirt. It's a penalty for me all day long. They should have pulled it up. I mean, even the winger, Miller, his shirt nearly got torn off his back, didn't he, by the full-back, and they give the free kick the other way. I don't know. It's just one of them games. And the 2 goals they got second half, there was poor goals, really, wasn't there, from our point of view. The penalty was a poor penalty in the sense of giving it away. We give the ball away to get the crossing, which Louis curls arm. We give the ball away in our area for the 3rd goal. And then Pando's in no man's land, which, to be fair, it was a hell of a finish from their player, I thought. He took it down really well, more or less in the same movement, flicked it over everybody. But it was just one of them games. I don't know. I don't know what you lot thought. I just thought, for half an hour, we didn't play badly. We hit the bar. The Hughes had a chance on the right-hand side. He put it wide. It was just one of them games. I think it could have easily ended, probably could have ended up something like 7-4 or something like that. But I don't know. You get these games, don't you, when things just don't go right for you, when everything goes right for the opposition. So I'm not too disheartened. I thought we played well in patches, but we need to start better. I think that's one of the problems.
Starting better is a big thing. Yeah, you're right. I do think you're right in what you're saying. The referee definitely want a whole City fan that day. But
They never are against Norwich, are they?
No, but the referee didn't cost us the game.
No.
We cost ourselves the game
No,
because
he didn't. No, he didn't.
we was too silly. We was too naive. We had too much space for them to run into, and they are a quick team. They're an experienced team, and the finishing on the day by them was good. The finishing from us wasn't good. Not that we had hoodles of chances, but we do need to finish better, is what I would say. Joe, you're looking a bit perplexed there, so let's come across to you.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to say on Norwich. Really, it's
not like you to be lost for words, Joe.
I know it's incredibly unlike me. It's a tough one to talk about because, like Paul says, it's not like Leeds and Sheffield United where we lost and we didn't really show anything going forward. We had good chances. Pedro, was it shoulder? Was it arm? The replays from what I've seen are still a little bit inconclusive to me because of just the angles and what have you. Then
the thing is, he shouldn't have got. If he got booked for that, I don't know if he did. They said he got booked for arguing, but
he did.
Yeah. I felt a bit sorry for him because obviously he's missed it with his head, but I did think it hit more of his shoulder than his arm. But as you say, it's very inconclusive.
Yeah, and then look, we had all the chances as well. We had that one Charlie Hughes at the back post, which is a really difficult angle for him.
Yeah,
and then Balumi looked good. I think Abu Kamara offered us a little bit more than Liam Miller did. I think in the second half could have had an assist. If Pedro's goal had
Liam Miller the game before looked really good, didn't he? So you've got that difficult choice, haven't you, because of how good it looked in the game before. And as you say, I think obviously when we're looking at it, we brought on some new players, and we'd said the game before how well. What's the lad who was played left back called? Come on, somebody help me out. Yeah, Drama. He won at it really against Norwich for me, and you look at then Giles coming on, and Giles did look better than Drama, and I think Giles has maybe had a little bit of a wake up call listening to his interview after the game, and his head from the sounds of things has been all over the place with the Middlesbrough interest and coming to us, and could he come on and actually be our first choice left back this season is a question that I wanted to pose tonight.
He's good enough to be. He should be. It's just whether he steps up to the standard that he sets for himself and the standard we know Ryan Giles can hit.
You've not said anything yet, Christian?
Look, the reason why I'm staying quiet right now is obviously you're all making your points across. And what I'm going to say with regarding to, like you just said, Drame left back over Giles or Giles number one. Miller, should he have started instead of after the previous week? And Hughes, and obviously the goal. For me, it was one of those games where we were playing a team who knew themselves very well. They knew how to play with each other. And when you go into a game like that, would I said we went with pretty much almost our strongest 11? Pretty much I say this as in, 90% there. Yeah, I would have said we started, especially with Miller on, Drame on. You asked me last week, would they be the players I picked? 100%. But then what I learned from watching the game was, are they the right players to be playing that team against those individuals in that position? No, they were. They were not at all. When Giles came on at left back, he looked better. And I'm not just saying for Giles looking better himself. I think the team looked better with Giles on the pitch doing that type of role. I thought Balumi was... I love him. but I thought it was outstrengthened quite a bit. I think the backline was probably problematic throughout the game. When I say problematic, I'm talking they had to work extra hard to actually even stop an attack. It seemed relentless against our backline. It really didn't. Hughes coming on, yeah, it looks to strengthen it, apart from his huge mistake that he did of clearing the ball. And obviously we conceded from that because at that point, I was actually screaming at the TV. And I mean, screaming. The wife had to tell me to shut up. And all I was screaming was, clear the ball, clear it. And I was like, it's not going to do it. And then lost, conceded. And I won't say the words, obviously, right now, what I was saying in my living room.
Please don't.
But the one, yeah, yeah. But the word, and it was one of those where it was really obvious to see these certain things. Now, will I feel like when Hughes came on, did he strengthen the back line up defensively? Did it seem more settled? Yeah, 100%. I actually do feel it was more settled. I don't feel any craziness. Do I feel Hughes coming in at that point in the game, conceding a goal and making a mistake might knock your confidence back? That's why I'm really happy we got this 2-week break. I'm really happy we got this 2-week break. Well, today, is it a week even? A week and a half, 10 days, whatever. Up front as well, were we clinical? No, obviously we didn't score a goal. Did we create more chances? Yeah, but were the good chances? A lot of them were forced, I felt. A lot of them were forced. We did, though, like Paul stated, if you were on the outside and you looked at the stats, would you have said it was a 4-0 game? No. And even watching it at 2-0 down, I still had that inkling inside of me going, it's all right, half-time's going to come. We're going to make these substitutions. We're going to get back into the game. If it finishes 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, at least we're going to get back into it at half-time because we're going to see these problems. And there wasn't a change. And I was like, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. And you could just see it was nothing against like Norwich, Hull, but Norwich were just a team. They were a team full. You could just see they knew where there was. They could have literally looked the other way and passed the ball, and it would still gone to a Norwich player. That's how much of a team they looked compared to us, and we just didn't look anywhere near that standard. And it was a wake-up call. I think it humbled me a bit more, realizing and seeing that.
I think your description there is really good as what you've said, as they were a team, because definitely they were a team. And, you can see that we're still a big work in progress. I'm with you, what you said, Christian. If that team, when he named that team and I saw that team on the sheet on Saturday, I thought, this is his strongest 11. At this moment in time, this is his strongest 11. But as you say, it goes to show it possibly wasn't his strongest 11 because we didn't give enough back. And is that down to the way that we're playing? Is it down to the individual players? Is it down to the way that we're set up? There's a lot of questions, and I think we've got more questions than answers at the moment, to be honest.
That's the thing I want to one of the points I wanted to discuss really was, if scouts go and look at opposition teams before you play them, you study them. Surely there should have been something that would have come about going, maybe our left side isn't the right place to go against them. Because it was obvious from the start it wasn't right.
Yeah.
And who they were against. And if you're studying your opposition, surely you should have seen that. Because we saw it from the start. So someone being there, it's like, I don't know. Is that a coaching problem or was it an individual one?
The coaching thing is something I really want to discuss, and that brings us on to a couple of comments we've got in chat. If you're watching us live on the To Hull and Back podcast, you can put your messages in chat via whatever platform you're watching us on. What's the number to text in on Humber Wave, AD?
WhatsApp us on Humber Wave at 772663. It's 01482, so whole number 772663. If you want to message us through the WhatsApp, that'd be good as well.
So the two comments I've got, one from Coxie. It's not your Dokan cynic one. I'm sure we'll talk about him because we always seem to on this sort of stuff. Coxie has said that Ipswich and Southampton have shown this style of football doesn't work in the Premier League, as they were both very good at it in the Championship. So knowing Walter won't change this style, do we accept he won't be here long term? And Simon Wilson says, do you think Andy Dawson has a say on the defensive setup, or do you think he doesn't agree with the system? Can
I answer a little bit on there?
Yeah, go for it.
Just on Andy Dawson, because Andy Dawson's a bit of a strange one for me this season. He sat there in the technical in the dugout in the technical area, and he looks like he's contributing something, but I'm not sure what his role is in the team this year. I don't know whether he's actually got a role, and I think he probably, as will comments say, I think Andy Dawson probably had more of a say last season than he's got this season, because Tim's brought in too many of his own backroom staff for Andy Dawson to be up there and having a big say on what's going on in the team. So that's what I wanted to comment on. I have looked at Andy Dawson and I've thought, what's your role? What's your role now, Andy? What are you actually doing? Because to me, it looks like he's looking at the video analysis when the players are on the pitch and maybe giving a couple of points for that. But I don't know whether he's actually getting much more say than that. I might be wrong.
No, you could well be right, to be fair. He's brought a lot of backroom staff in. You know, he's going to lean to them, I would think, rather than Andy Dawson, isn't he? So it could well be just, you know, being on the sort of sidelines to a certain degree where that's concerned. It is concerning, but I still think the midfield has a lot to answer, to be honest. I think, you know, when your defence is under pressure, early on you need your midfield to win the battle, don't you? Or at least put themselves about. And I don't think we do that quite enough in midfield early on in games. I still think this early on start, it's happened too many times for me to be just a coincidence. How many times we start poorly on the back foot and it takes us 20 minutes to get going. And then I thought we looked quite good towards the end of the first half, towards the beginning of the second half. But obviously the third goal kills the game, doesn't it? But, you know, 100%. We had chances. We've hit the bar. We've had a chance off Hughes. The Badea should have had a penalty. I think even the winger Balumi was through. I thought he was going to shoot and he didn't. I just think we need to start better. And if I don't know who that's coming from, whether it's, as you say, maybe something to do with the system, whether it's the manager not revving them up and getting them up for it. I don't know, but it happened lots last time. I mean, I think there was 20-odd times when we went 1-0 down in games last season. We had a good season, but we still went down 1-0 down a lot of times. So it's something that's regularly happening with Hull City, and you need somebody to sort that out because you can't keep doing it. These are some good teams in the Championship, at least at our level, if not better, fair few of them. We're going to get well beaten again if we carry on with this bad start. We could have got beat at QPR. I think we got a bit away with it there. Could have been 2-0 up before we scored. I think we need to sort that out. To me, that's one of the biggest problems we have. We don't start on the front foot. And I think until that changes, we're going to get these games when they get 2 or 3 goals early on, especially against the better teams.
Well, just on that, Paul, really, that's sort of bled in quite nicely to what I want to say about this. Just to address Cox's comment quickly about Ipswich and Southampton, Kieran McKenna has been a little bit more pragmatic about it than Russell Martin has. And I think Russell Martin's entering dangerous territory when he's already blaming the players and we're not even in November yet. As for Walter's style, look, we will win games this season, but we will also lose a lot of games this season, just because the way we play, we're threatening going forward, but we are wide open at the back because 2 of the 3 midfielders push up so high, meaning that if an attack doesn't end in a goal or a corner or something like that, and we get countered, Zambrano's exposed and he can't do the work of 3 players. That then leaves your defence exposed. And if Panda's pushed up, as he does sometimes to give us an extra option, then he's exposed as well and he can get lobbed like he did against Fenerbahce in pre-season, like he did against Norwich. And a good team will be able to pick us apart defensively with ease, like Norwich did. I'd expect Sunderland and Burnley to do the same right after the international break. Against better teams, we need to set up differently for me in order to, not just be out of the game by half time. By playing this expansive way, if we get countered, we risk being out of games before they've even started.
I wonder if he's got that, in his locker, that thing than what you're saying there, Joe, to set us up differently, or is he got one style of playing and not willing to adapt?
He's been very clear in the interviews I've listened to him that when journalists like Baz Cooper or Mike White have put to him, do you think we were just too open today? No. He's been very sort of abrupt in saying this is his style and there's a reason he plays this way and he won't change it. We will play the same way. Ant said it on our main episode, that we will play the same way against Manchester City in the FA Cup 4th round as we could Boston United in the FA Cup 3rd round. It's just the way Walter goes. But to me, it would make sense to, against teams where we are likely to concede more chances, and they are, against QPR, they just didn't take those chances. A good team does take those chances. Cardiff had some good chances, but they were incredibly wasteful. So a team that's good enough to take the chances that they create will score a lot of goals against us. And if you're conceding 4 goals in a game, then to win the game, you've automatically got to score 5. And it's what Adjun wants and what have you, but this is the Championship. The teams with the best defensive records get promoted. And another good comment that Cox has made is what Chris Sutton said on a different podcast, that if the system's going to work, your centre-halves need to be all-rounders, quick, good at one-on-one defending, mobile, good in the air, all these different things. And I think in Charlie Hughes, there's the potential to be that, like Jacob Greaves was. Alfie Jones is that to a certain degree, but you can only be so much of a perfect all-rounder if you've got players that are in a good position to cover you when you've got to do certain things. And when
I was going to say exactly that, Joe.
The midfield is so high, they simply don't have that cover. And
I think McLaughlin gets made a scapegoat quite a lot in this, and we're obviously talking about Charlie Hughes. He came in, he's made a couple of mistakes, as Christian said. That's it could knock his confidence a little bit. I think that my defence here. I was talking to a friend the other day and was talking about Charlie Hughes coming in, Sean McLaughlin going out, and he said to me a bit of last time we see Sean McLaughlin play for Hull City. And I said, I mean, there'll be a lot of fans that disagree with me, but I really hope it isn't, because I think Sean McLaughlin has not had the support. When you're talking about how high the midfield is, there's nobody covering Sean McLaughlin when he needs it. Nobody's coming across to cover him and to cover that area, and it's not working well enough in that respect. And obviously, because Sean's up the pitch, we've then got some speedy players from Norwich that can really quickly break, and Sean can't get back quick enough because he ain't got the support and he ain't got the backing there to help him back. And if we're just thinking that Charlie Hughes can come in and he can be Speedy Gonzalez and be halfway up the pitch and then get back to some of these attackers that other teams have got, we ain't got a chance, because, you could have a same Bolt there. He's still not going to get back from the positions that we're asking him to play to make that defensive challenge. So that's my issue with blaming everything on Sean McLaughlin. It ain't all Sean McLaughlin's fault. I do think that, we've got to think about how much support and cover he's getting. I also think that, Cody Drama, when you look at him, he had a really good game against QPR, but I think it was Christian that said, we're playing the right back in the left back position when they've got such a strong attacking force there. Is it the right thing to do? And should Tim Walter have looked at that before the game? As you said, Joe, do your research, work out what these teams are going to do and set up properly against them. Don't just stick to your way, because if you do that in the Championship, we'll be relegated. That's what will happen to us this season. We
Well,
will
there's
be
a possibility,
relegated because you cannot go losing games by 4-0. I mean, because as you said, Joe, we've got 2 games coming up: Burnley and Sunderland. There could be rugby scores if we set up the same way that we set up against Norwich, because I think Burnley and Sunderland are better teams than Norwich in this league, personally.
Yeah. Final
Probably,
thing I'm
you're
going to
right,
say. Final thing I'm going to say on this, then I promise I'll let someone else speak. Simon Wilson has commented, did Hamburg get as many hammerings when he was there? I've just quickly now pulled up all of Tim Walter's scores.
He's good.
His last couple of games for Hamburg, 4-3 defeat to Hanover, 2-1 win against Hertha, 4-3 defeat against Karlsruhe, and then you go down and there's a 6. This is mental. In the German DFB Pokal, their version of the FA Cup round of 16, Hertha Berlin 8, Hamburg 6, Holstein Kiel 4, Hamburg
Great game
2.
for goals.
I was going to say, where are these goals? Where are these goals?
Arminia Bielefeld 4, Hamburg 5, Kaiserslautern 3, Hamburg 3. Scrolling back through a bit more, Essen 3, Hamburg 4, Hamburg 5, Schalke 3, Regensburg 1, Hamburg 5. In there's the 2-1s and the 1-1s and whatever, a couple of 2-1s and some draws. But then there's
the 2-1 once. The rest of them have been above 6 goals.
So there are a couple of lower scoring
14
games.
goals in a game.
But yeah, you don't you cannot in the championship get away with in 1, 2, 3, 4 games having 4 goals shipped against you, another 4 goals shipped against you, another 2, and then 8.
Can I just ask a quick question, Paul? Do you get these 8-6 games in your walking football?
No. No. They're usually 2 or 3-1 or 4-2 or something like that. No, they aren't particularly high scoring. No, it is. I think it has to start setting up a little bit differently. I always think against the better teams, I think we can maybe go with 2 holding midfielders, which I would I'd like to see us do. A little bit.
Coxie puts there that he's actually improved his defensive record from where he was. It's a good point, Coxie. Well made.
Yeah, definitely.
And just to Martin saying that we're all going to be miserable and not laughing. Well, you've definitely cheered us up tonight, Coxie.
Cheers, Coxie. Yeah, cheers,
at least we're all laughing, which is the main thing, isn't it?
Oh. God,
I mean, I don't know. Is this a daft question? As a judge just looked at the scores and thought, "There's plenty of goals there. We'll see."
Yeah, probably.
Is that what it's been? Because you've got to ask questions, haven't you? An 8-6 game and 5 4s and 4 3s. I'm all for entertaining football and plenty of goals, but I wouldn't want that to be happening on a regular basis because I don't think Iraq could stand it, could it?
Well, I don't think in this league you can get away with it, to be quite honest. I just don't think you can. You might be able to get away with it in other leagues, but not here.
I'm going to get Liam Rossini's record up now. See how many times we scored and conceded 4 goals under him. Give me 5 minutes.
We'll let you get the stats up, and Christian will say what he's going to say now.
I think look. We've just had a bit of a giggle, so it's hard to go back to this. But the one thing that really disappointed me about the weekend, more than anything, was our passing. We give it away way too many times. And we were also very slow to the second ball or the loose ball. We just didn't win a single one of them. And our passing, we just give it to them. It's really frustrating for a type of team where we aim to press it out to the wings and try and be, well, to be fair, we have started going a bit more switch and direct, which has been a nice change in City style. But when we've been doing it, have we been pulling them off all the time? We haven't. And again, look, that's because it's new, I guess, and I've got the right players playing the right passes, But to lose it as many times as we did and give it away as many times as we did, we made it easier for Norwich to grow into the game, and get their goals and get their passing play. And it was like I say, humbling in a way, knowing that though we've just been on the back of 3 really nice wins and needed wins, to play a team like Norwich and humble us down was a bit of a and with Sunderland coming up, which is the one I'm really worried about, because look, I hate Sunderland as a passion personally for reasons of me living in Newcastle, so understand me on that one, okay? And I can't take a big loss like that against Sunderland. I can't. If it was a goal scoring game and it was a loss both sides, okay. But if it's a 4-0 drumming again, and we play in the exact same style and manner as we did against Norwich at the weekend, then the discussion we're going to be having the week after, on the Wednesday after that match, it's not going to be a good discussion, because we're going to all look at it and go, has he learned a lesson? What's he not changed? What's he not fixed? What's that? And that's the concerning thing about us, with everyone saying, what are we seeing? Is there not enough risk and reward? And it's really concerning me now that against Sunderland, I know it's a bigger team, a harder team, and they're going to be all out there. But if we don't suppress them a little bit and at least give it a go, we're going to have a completely different discussion. And I think Joe's just come out with all those Rossi stats as well.
It looks like yes. Can I just say one thing before we go across to Joe? What impressed me about Norwich was that when they pressed us so well. We didn't have any time on the ball at the back. And for a team that we've been promised we would press in the right way, we still don't press in the right way. We still press with one player, and that one player can't press against 4. And that is a massive problem for us. He's trying to press the opposition. We just don't do it well enough. We really don't do it in the same style what Norwich did to us. Go on, Joe, tell us some stats.
Okay, so if we compare what we had of Tim Walter before in Germany, we conceded 4 under Rossini just once in his entire time. That was the Sunderland 4-4 draw in 2023 at their ground. We scored 4 times. Rotherham at home last season, Sheffield Wednesday at home last season, Wigan away the season before that, and the aforementioned Sunderland 4-4 draw. So you compare that, and we are obviously much sort of tighter at the back under Rossini. The stats back that up. We can all see that, but that's just for comparison. And Coxey has it right. The manager is stubborn, and I suppose that's fine to a certain extent because it's his way of playing. But there are times where you need to be a little bit adaptable to the situation and to the game that you're going to be playing.
That's the thing. It needs to adapt a little bit. Don't get me wrong. You've got your style. You can play your way and you can do your style in that type of thing. But if you're not willing to adapt to the opposition you're playing against, then it's a fruitless task. And that's...
So in Joe's comment earlier, whose comment was it earlier that said, do we actually go scout the game, and what happened from scouting the game? It doesn't matter if you scout the game because he's not going to take any notice anyway.
No, he's not. The final comment I'll read on this little bit. Tim thinks his German philosophy set up and style fits the Championship. It doesn't. Let's be honest, we flattered to deceive in the 3 wins, with the majority of our goals having a big chunk of fortune. That's coming from Darren Lister on Facebook.
Could be
I
right,
think
could Darren? I don't think he's massively
Yeah.
wrong. We did get a little bit of luck, and I said that on last week's podcast, and I did also say on last week's podcast I'd be happy with a draw against Norwich. I'd definitely have been happy with a draw against Norwich. Now I can tell you that for now. But yeah, it is that we did have a little bit of luck as well involved. Sorry, Joe, I cut you off there.
No, it's fine. I think Darren's been a little bit unfair to some of the goals. I think Balumi's second, especially, that was really well worked. Balumi's first is a little bit more luck. You can definitely agree. We could definitely agree there against Cardiff.
Couple of deflections in there. I think Slater's goal's a good goal.
It is. Palmer got a bit lucky that the penalty against Stoke rebounded straight back to him. The own goal against Stoke.
I think we crafted that one though, Joe. We crafted that one with regards to the own goal against Stoke. That was crafted by us. That wasn't a luck type thing. Definitely. It was played into the right area with the right style of pass. And that's one thing you're taught as well when you're playing on the wing or you're coming through from that byline over into the box. Whack it into the box because you don't know what it's going to hit and where the direction's going to go of the ball at the end. And luckily enough, it went to the net and he played it as... God, we're trained as kids when you play football. So no, I'm going to.
Same can be said for Zambrano's goal, really, can't it? One of the short corners came off. Yes, the deflection, but they've clearly worked on it, and sometimes you need those little bits of luck. But I can agree what you're saying more, Darren, with regards to QPR, in that the ball got bundled through a little bit for the second, and Miller got a bit lucky with the way the ball settled for his third. But I think against Cardiff, against Stoke, we played well. QPR, we weathered a bit of a storm, went forward, took our chances, and then, each game's different, but I can see where you're coming from.
It's good for you all to be interacting with us. Keep these comments coming in because we really like them here on the podcast and on Humber Wave Radio. The podcast and the radio show isn't anything without you being there and watching or listening. So we're really glad to have you along tonight. It's not just our opinions that counts, it's yours as well. You can get in touch with us on WhatsApp 01482 772 663 or just comment on whichever platform you're watching us on the To Hull and Back podcast. Great for you to get in touch and let us know your thoughts on Hull City. I wanted to talk a little bit about Charlie Hughes because Christian brought it up and he said about Charlie Hughes coming in. It was nice to see him finally get to pull on a Hull City shirt and actually have a game in the Championship after his problems, with his little operation that he's had and stuff like that. It was a tough start to life in the Championship and probably a start that he won't forget for a long time.
Yeah, I thought in patches he did okay, to be honest. He was always looking to get the ball off Pando, wanting sort of settling into the system that he wants to play. Bit unlucky with the shot near their goal. If he puts that in he's made a mistake, he should have cleared it. But, we didn't clear another one, did we? We seemed to, I don't know whether we just told not to hit it into row Z, where, we can hit it into row Z no matter what, or whether they just decided to try and play out. I don't know. But, you've got to give the kid time, haven't you? It's a bit like the Pando situation. He's had what, 30 minutes or something like that, 45 minutes. He's been injured for most out with the operation for most of the time. I think, he looks an all right player, but got to give him his time a little bit. And plus the fact he's come from Division 1, so League 1, should I say. So, he's going to take a little bit of time to settle in. I think, if they're expecting big things of him, I think it's a bit unfair at the moment. I think you've got to give him time to settle in. I think he'll probably start the next game instead of McLaughlin. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. But, I think the kid, he didn't, he's not outstanding, but he was all right. You just got to give him a bit of time. I think it's hard to judge him on the time he came on with 2-0 down, chasing the game. Nobody's playing outstanding in the team. And he's coming with maybe a point to prove, and things haven't gone his way. But I think the lad's a decent player. And from what you've heard from Wigan, he is a good player. So you just got to give him a bit of time and not be on his back too early, which sometimes Hull City fans are, aren't they?
They are. Christian.
No, I agree with pretty much everything Paul said there. I think when Hughes came on, he did look a bit more want to say composed, though. I want to say he looked really composed when he got on the ball and the ball at his feet and playing away. I think the only time, obviously, he didn't look good was when he his fault for conceding, really, and not clearing it. But as you stated, is that him and not being there and linked up with the team enough to actually go, right, let's just boom? Or is it him going, oh no, I'm supposed to play this short? Am I supposed to play this closest man to me? Get it out. I mean, in those type of situations, obviously, a player should just go, get it out. I don't want it in the back of my net. I don't want to be messing about with it. You should. Common sense dictates that. And that's the thing. It looked like he hesitated that. So is it because he's been told not to? I don't actually doubt his ability at all, but by how he came on and how he was playing. Like I said, he had a crack at goal as well. He did a good few tackles. He looked composed. I thought he looked really nice, actually, other than the mistake. But is that just match practice, championship step up, being told what to do? Is it different? Well, obviously it's different from what he's known, because every bit of football about Hull City is different at the moment. So I mean, you can't stick with that. But composure wise, I think we're going to see a lot more of Hughes. I truly do. I think McLaughlin wise, he's going to be in and around. I think it's going to be between them two. Good little battle. I agree with what Eddie said. I don't think it's just going to be a case of he's going to never play again for Hull. I think that's just silly to say. I think it's going to be a good battle for them to come on and off. Hughes has still got a bit to learn, but I can understand why he's at Hull. I can understand how he fits in. I just think time is needed. As simple as that. Time is needed. He had 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I mean, what else did you want the bloke to do? You know.
Your go, Joe.
Everything I want to say has been said pretty much. He was chucked in at the deep end. Talk about a baptism of fire. It was sink or swim, and for the most part, he swam, held his own. I think he saw a little pass to try and get it out when he made the mistake, but it just got closed down too quickly. After Giles made a really good block, to be fair to him. And look, he's not played for us yet. It'll come. Yeah, it'll come for Charlie Hughes. He's a good young player. And it's just a case of getting him fully fit, getting some minutes into him. And I don't think it's the last we've seen of Sean McLaughlin at all. I like Sean. I think Sean wants to be here. And Sean will see Charlie Hughes as healthy competition. And a comment that came through is everyone assumes Hughes should come in for McLaughlin, but he's predominantly right-footed, so may upset the right-left centre-back pairing. I'm not sure it's a necessity. I just think with Greaves being left-footed on that left side, I think because of the way Rossini wanted to play, he always wanted a right alongside him. But yeah, there's definitely more to come from Charlie Hughes, and I'm excited for when he gets minutes to show that.
Definitely so, and it's he's a good young prospect. We've spent a lot of money on bringing him in, so it'll be interesting to see how Charlie Hughes' career develops here at Hull City. I just want to mention that I am hosting a Meet Hull City event, which is on the 29th of October, 7:30. It's a Tuesday, and it's at the Blackburn Community and Social Club in Brough. It's organised by Hull City Official Supporters Club, and in attendance we'll see Ivo Pandor and Liam Miller. We'll be able to ask them questions. I'll ask them a couple of questions. You can ask questions. It's £3 if you're not a member of the OSC. It's free if you are a member of the OSC. Be good to get as many of you down there as possible. That's the 29th of October. So what is that, 3 weeks away? And it's 7:30 in Brough. Look forward to that one. I think it'll be a good night, and be nice to see you if you can join us down there.
I'd like to say, what do we think of Stephen Alzati starting?
Yes, absolutely yes. Has to.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, you could just see it when he came on. The pace of the game changed massively. It was completely. It was a switch up. It wasn't a case of, oh, somebody else is on, let's play the same style. You saw that central midfield all of a sudden come into play. It was almost like tippy tap football at one stage, one to the other, 1-2s everywhere. If a player does that much of an impact coming off the bench, for me, you got to start them, because the opposition, let's use Norwich, their central midfield were all over ours. But if you had him starting, and when he came on, did they really see the ball in their central midfield when Steven Alzate came on? No, not really. I thought Alzate passed it around them, ran around them, covered. The amount of running he did in that short space of time, it was impressive. I think he should be already there, but is it a fitness thing?
Fitness thing, yeah.
Right. Yeah, the thing is, he has been here a while now, hasn't he? So you'd like to think must be nearly at full fitness.
That's it.
Well, they're on obviously warm weather training this week. They've flown out to Turkey on Monday, I think it was.
Been playing volleyball all day.
That's what they've been doing, is it? Playing volleyball?
Yeah, been playing volleyball all day with a music band marching around them, whilst Ryan Giles has been doing a little dance on the sand.
I think they need to be practicing with the feet probably, and not the hands.
They did do actual football yesterday, and probably a little bit today as well.
This morning.
Good to hear then, Joe. Good to hear then. And it'll certainly be warmer across in Turkey than it is here at the moment. So lucky for the lads to be across there, because I'll tell you, Hull's definitely not as warm at the moment as it is in Turkey. It's definitely that old saying, Hull fair weather.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying earlier about it being the strongest 11. I think most of us would have started with the 11 that he started against Norwich. There wouldn't have been a lot of changes if we'd have made any. But when you look at Alzate coming on, Giles, Hughes, is he still, I don't know, 4 or 5 games away from what he might consider his strongest 11, do you think?
Yeah, I think it could be.
Yeah, I think for me, the back four is fine. Whichever one of Drama or Giles is in the best form at left back should go in there. Then I think the front three, it's one of Miller or Kamara, Badia and Balumi, and that leaves the midfield. For me, for me anyway, my opinion is the strongest midfield is Zambrano, Alzate, just because of the pedigree he's played at and how good he was for Brighton. I rated him quite highly when he was there. And I'll die on this hill. Abdush. Against Sheffield United, when he played centrally, he's been more effective and had more of the ball than in any other game so far this season, even though we were dire. And when he's back fit, I think he's got to be put central. That's where he'll be best.
So you're leaving out Regan Slater then, Joe? You're not thinking that he has a starting place in your team?
It's an awkward one because I love Regan Slater. But I just think sheer quality, Steven Alzate, look at the level he's played at.
I think the thing that you've got to think about is, obviously, you're asking then, aren't you, for one of them to do all of the work there, because you're not going to get all of them doing the hard graft defensively and stuff like that. So are we asking Zambrano to do all of that without any support?
I'm asking Alzate to do Zambrano's job as well as doing Abdush's job. He's good enough to do it.
To be fair, Abdush does put himself about. I mean, he's only a little bit. He will put himself about, won't he? He tries to get around the pitch quite a lot. I don't see it as a major problem playing them three, personally. I mean,
I don't think he's going to. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's not played Abdush in Abdush's best position.
No,
really, since he came in. I think he maybe done it once. But
he moved him into there when the substitute was made. He moved into that pocket.
And you look at you're leaving out Malem when you're talking about this team. Malem was going to be in nearly every game. I'm sorry to say that, because to me, I think there's better players that we've got than him. But I do believe that he'll be in there every game because he's come with him.
And there's Palmer as well, isn't they?
Palmer to talk about as well. We have got a lot of players to try and keep happy. And, although we sort of all said, I think all of us have said it, that we would have more or less started with that starting 11 on Saturday. I don't think that he knows what his best starting 11 is.
I don't
No,
think.
I agree with you.
To be fair, you can't really call it because, like I say, we've got that amount of players. Still got Perez coming on, so don't even get me going about that because he's absolutely bossing the under-21s at the moment. And
Well, he's only played one game.
well, and yeah, but that one game, what was it? The assists and goal,
Assist and a goal,
yeah. And I mean, for one player, I mean, you're usually looking to get one or the other, not two. And you just got to think, well, if you've got someone from a higher league anywhere down there, obviously he's going to do good. So why isn't he on the cusp of us? And again, the same fitness, the competition. I mean, how can you pick? How can Volta pick what the best 11 is with the size of the squad? Like, it is huge. And he's come out publicly and said it. I've got a big squad like this. I've got quality players because I want competition. I want the lads to fight for a spot. And I always want to pick around and rotate. He hasn't said he's got a favourite. He's actually said he's going all the way around doing it. The only person who's probably guaranteed a spot in any position right now is the goalkeeper. That is it at the moment.
Louis Coyle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can't even say Coyle's guaranteed. You can't even say Coyle's guaranteed. You can't. Because what if Coyle starts just flacking a bit and getting a bit tired? He's obviously got the cover. What if you want to go a bit more pacey and all out on the wings? Don't get me wrong. I love Coyle. As in, he's an engine. We all know 110%. I've said it week in, week out. But is he guaranteed 100% start every week and week out at the moment? I can't say he is either. It's the team is that much still trying to gel together. You never know. On this camp, he might find a new system. You just don't know. And he might find that somebody else fits in. And it's the size of the squad until it's repetitive, as in week in, week out the same few. That's when we'll know. But at the moment, we can just speculate. And I think that's all
we can do.
That is what our job is to speculate all the time. That's what we're here for, is to speculate.
Well, there is, of course, friendly, as Neil Tiger mentions, where some of these players might get a chance. They're playing Alanyaspor this week. And Neil also mentions, which is the last point we'll really have time for tonight, about Carl Rushworth. Maybe if he impresses against Alanyaspor, he can make a claim to be starting over Ivo Panda. Who knows?
I think he'll get called back in January, personally, if he doesn't.
I think he will at the moment. Yeah, if you don't get any games, he definitely will.
I'll get called back. Yeah.
I mean, you look at Pandor, the only one that really you could blame Pandor for on Saturday was the one where he's off the line, but he's being asked to play off the line. So again, Volta couldn't really blame him because he's asking him to play that way. So to me, I can't see that you could drop Pandor at the moment. I think, his place, as Christian said, I think he's more or less guaranteed at the moment.
At the moment, I think so, yeah.
He made some good saves early on. We forget and the talk that I think it was you, Paul, that said it could have been 7. It could have been without him in goal. It could have been 7. So
the lob, to be fair, the kids, I think it was Sands, wasn't it? He took it down brilliantly and more or less flicked it in the save movement. So even if maybe on the penalty spot, he might have still struggled to get to it because I think he took it so well, did their player, that it was a really good goal from his point of view. But I think we had 2 defenders near him, didn't we? But he took it down and flicked it more or less in the same movement. So these things happen. You've just got to take it on the chin, I think. Bad day at the office, and hopefully we improve against Sunderland.
Hopefully so. We've got a couple and a half minutes left here on the radio. We're finishing the podcast tonight at the same time. And next week, we're doing a bit of a different thing on the podcast. And I'm going to have to pull my finger out my backside to try and do something with this now because Joe's reminding us of what we're doing. So, Joe, you're the one who sort of put this together. So tell everybody what we're going to do next week on the pod and on the radio.
So next week, because we'll have had the international break and there won't be much to speak about because none of us will be able to watch the Alanyaspor game, what we're going to do is, it was thought up on our main episode after the Cardiff anniversary game to do like a special where each of us constructs a team of, vaguely worded, the best Hull City 11 we have ever seen as an individual. We each make a team. It can be best however you interpret it. It can include some of your favourites, some cult heroes, the best as they were for Hull City, or just the simply best careers any player you've watched has had before coming to Hull City or going on afterwards. Interpret it as you will, but that is what we will be doing next week.
Not an easy one, and there's lots to choose from, so we're all going to have to really think about it. I'll probably do it 10 minutes before we come on air, so mine won't be that good.
I've already been thinking about it.
I was going to say, I can vouch. I've already got a list, and each list, I've got about 4 of them, and they're all bloody different. It's impossible. It's impossible.
So that's what we're going to do on the podcast and on Humber Wave Radio's episode next week. I'm hoping it'll be fun. And what I would like you to do is you get involved as well. And on your comments, you could put in your best 11 that you've seen for Hull City. We'd like to see what you come up with, because normally you come up with something better than what we do. Not far off time now. We've got about 30 seconds left on the radio. Been a good night tonight, even though it was a bit downbeat coming on. I think we've had a bit of a laugh, and it's been a good night, all in all. So
let's hope Martin was listening. It wasn't as downbeat as he thought it was going to be.
I'm sure he will have been. Anyway, next week, same time, same place. I think us 4 will all be here.
Yes,
we're hoping you'll be here as well. And thanks for listening again.
Yeah.
Thanks guys.